Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, where today I'm going to be talking about the 1999 teen black comedy Jawbreaker. Uh, Content warning, this film includes false rape allegations as a plot point. A reminder that false rape allegations in real life are very rare, believe women. In any case, speaking of women, the Flawless Four are the most popular girls in Reagan High School. Courtney, Marcy, Julie, and Liz. Courtney is the leader of the clique. That's her, the brunette in the middle. But whereas she rules the school by terror, Liz, who is not pictured, is, on the other hand, by far the most popular member. She's as beautiful and wealthy as the others, but also much more kind-hearted. On the morning of Liz's 17th birthday, Courtney, Marcy, and Julie bind her with ropes, gag her with a jawbreaker, and seal her mouth with duct tape. They then lock Liz in the trunk of a car and drive off, planning to take her to a restaurant for a pancake breakfast, because, that's what teen girls do, right? Pretend to kidnap one another. Well, the problem with that plan becomes apparent as soon as they open the trunk. Liz has choked to death on the jawbreaker, and they now have a corpse on their hands. Julie wants to report the situation to the police, but Courtney instead insists that the trio cover up the incident. Her plan is to return Liz's body to her room, spread rumours that Liz was secretly promiscuous with strangers, and engineer a situation where it appears that one of Liz's trysts turned into a violent rape. Overriding Julie's objections, Courtney pushes through with this plan, but things become much more complicated when the trio's accidental killing of their friend is discovered by social outcast Fern Mayo. So Courtney buys Fern's silence with a simple offer. Say nothing about what actually happened, and Fern will get the makeover of her dreams and assume Liz's position in their clique. But as Liz's body is discovered and the police begin to investigate, Julie's misgivings about the situation grow ever stronger. Will Courtney get away with her wicked scheme, or will the truth finally come out? So when writer-director Aaron Stein, or Stein, I'm not sure how you pronounce his surname, brought this script to Columbia TriStar, they agreed to finance the film only if he could cast Natalie Portman, Kate Winslet, or Rose McGowan in the movie. He managed to land the last of these three options, with McGowan signing on to play the wicked Courtney, which is a role that she clearly relishes. Alas, on release, the film suffered from a poor critical and commercial response. In particular, it was accused of plagiarising Heathers, which admittedly was an inspiration behind making this. However, thanks to its strong cast and other qualities, more on which later, Jawbreaker went on to find success on home video and TV, becoming a favourite film for teen sleepovers in the early 21st century. That was well after my own teenage years when this was happening, but it was around this time that I first saw the film, and I enjoyed it quite a bit back then, 20 years ago, and over time, more and more people seem to have come over to that point of view. So yeah, Jawbreaker ultimately developed a cult following and has enjoyed a critical re-evaluation, with many more favourable assessments being made of the film. So having recently rewatched the movie, I still enjoyed it. It's not flawless by any means, but it has some great lines of dialogue, a strong cast who do good work, and it's also a visual feast. The costume design by Vicky Barrett is excellent, for instance, and has won praise from no less an authority on such matters than Vogue magazine. These costumes also integrate well with the film's use of colour overall, which is clever and distinctive throughout. The photography and direction in general are good, in fact. Among other notably punchy visuals, this film pioneered the slow-mo hot girl hallway strut visual motif that has since turned up in many teen films. We see it in Mean Girls, Sugar and Spice, The Craft, Ginger Snaps, just to name a few. The film also has a couple of wonderfully creepy dream-like montages that show a great eye for visual design and include some clever thematic elements. Fern's big makeover montage, for instance, has some heavy Frankenstein vibes, with Courtney in the role of the not-so-good doctor, which, as you'll see if you watch the movie, is absolutely on point from a thematic sense. So, if, as I've already mentioned, the film had a good cast, fun dialogue, and looks great, why did it get such a negative initial reaction? Well, I think there are two possible explanations. And the first is that the script is not at all bothered about tightly connected, coherent plotting. In fact, it seems to relish doing exactly the opposite, with things happening in the film under a kind of strange dream logic. For instance, after her makeover into Violet, Fern instantly becomes not just the most popular girl in school, but also head cheerleader and somehow wins the lead in the school play. Both of these appointments come despite her being well established as physically and socially awkward. Adding to the film's very stylised pastiche atmosphere are those fantastical dreamlike montages. In addition to Fern's diva makeover / Frankenstein's creation dream, the film offers up a creepy sequence where a bunch of kids ride a merry-go-round while grotesquely licking jawbreakers. Now, I personally liked both of these sequences, but I can see why they may have jarred for some viewers. Still, in terms of runtime, these are only a pretty minor feature of the film overall, despite being memorable moments. So I expect the more likely explanation for the film's bad reception is a more troubling one, basically unexamined sexism. Because while this is not a film that openly avows any clear feminist principles, it is a film entirely about women. It centres women's stories, experiences, and perspectives, and provides very little scope for male roles. It has about as much space for men, in fact, as most films allow for women. You may have heard of the Bechdel test, which is a media metric that requires that a film have two women, both of whom names we know, who have a conversation that is not about a man. And a quite stunning number of films fail to pass this seemingly trivial test. They either don't have two named women, or they don't have two named women who talk to one another, or if the two named women do talk to one another, it's about a man. Jawbreaker, meanwhile, has maybe one scene where two men speak to each other. Instead, it is a film that is mostly women talking to other women. Courtney and Julie, Courtney and Fern, Fern and Julie. Each of them and the female detective assigned to investigate Liz's death. As the last example suggests, most often these conversations are about another woman, Liz. Some are, of course, about other things, but only very rarely are they about men. And when a conversation is about men, it's often very dismissive of them. Courtney, it is clear, only cares about her boyfriend for what he can do for her socially. Now, this is not to say that the film is progressive in every respect. There are certainly some regressive 90s attitudes seeping through in some places, such as the way the film equates being kind and virtuous with being a virgin, for instance, and being evil with sexual promiscuity. In the final analysis, though, I think Jawbreaker is a fun, subversive romp and worth checking out. Next time, while there have been good video game adaptations, such as Fallout, the genre has certainly long suffered quite the opposite reputation. And much as I love the glorious mess that is 1994's Street Fighter, it's most definitely part of the reason for that reputation. But that will be next time. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've seen Jawbreaker, let me know what you thought of it.